elected to serve just last year. After winning one of the most expensive House races in the nation. She's a freshman member of Congress and also sits on the House Financial Services Committee. I know you're busy today. How are you?
Yes, it's great. Thanks. Great to be on, Tenney.
Yeah,
you do a great job. I love when you challenge Stuart Varney.
Yes, it's fun, isn't it? So we've met there, and that, of course, is a great show. And I know that, and I've appreciated your take. And actually, when you first announced the compromise, it was on the phone to Stuart about the SALT taxes. And I thought that was a good idea because, look, I know that this is one of the big issues. And what my argument is, as it is for everyone, is that, look, these high tax states like yours, New York and California, isn't it time that people begin to feel what it is their own state is doing to them? And why should the rest of the country subsidize these high tax states? What do you say to that in arguing for this compromise in this bill?
Well, first of all, you have to understand New York is technically a donor state. That means our taxpayers contribute more to federal revenue than we receive in benefits. So we really aren't subsidizing anyone else. The problem is Albany has a spending problem, just like Sacramento. So Albany is spending so much of our money, wasting it on cronyist schemes, almost $8 billion in the last couple of years with Governor Andrew Cuomo and the really corrupt Democrats in the New York State Assembly. And I know because I was a member there. But we do have really high taxes. Unfunded mandates have been forced on our local businesses. So winning something back on the so-called state and local taxes, that's our tax. And it's really important to me that we got a win on this because, as I just pointed out on a recent show, of the 8 counties that I represent in upstate New York, they're, if you take the value and the tax percentage that they're paying, they are in the top 36 in the nation. With Cortland, I have the entire Cortland County in my district. They are number 6 in the nation with the highest property taxes as a percent of value. That is unacceptable. That is Albany unfunded mandates destroying our local businesses. And guess what some of that's caused by? Our exploding Medicaid. And Medicaid expansion is a huge problem in New York State, which was a result of Obamacare passing.
All right. Well, so don't you see? But let me just say. Most people would imagine that none of that will change as long as people feel that it's being ameliorated by the tax deduction. Don't you think that it's time? And what is going to be the impetus for your constituents and all of New Yorkers to say, wait a minute, we're being hurt too much by these high taxes. Otherwise, it'll never change unless they feel it or unless they see it.
Right. Our taxpayers should be storming the Capitol in Albany and saying, enough. Stop spending our taxpayer money on cronyist schemes. Stop wasting the money. Start changing the policy coming out of Albany. And it's been happening for decades. It's not like it's something new. They have been wasting our money for decades. And you've seen this enormous decline in New York. We are we're like 49th or 50th of the least business-friendly states. That's Albany policy. We have the highest outmigration of jobs and people. And we were a state that actually the Industrial Revolution and jobs and manufacturing were started. So we've lost all of this because of the tax and spend policies of, let's start with Governor Mario Cuomo. We now have Andrew Cuomo, who many of my friends is half as smart and twice as mean as his father. So we've got, someone who's just a terrible liberal and also just a demagogue screaming now about what's happening on the federal side.
So it's, as the nation,
we're trying to help taxpayers.
Well, as the nation hears this, every state has its own different kind of position, and there is a little bit of resentment that the issue is the need to try to help individuals who've allowed their states and continue to allow their states to destroy their lives. And this is obviously for you is a concern as a representative here for New York. Back to what's being proposed today, though, it seemed to me, and as I've mentioned through the show, and as it ended with Paul Ryan, they were behaving as though this was past legislation, that this was the end result, that, boy, isn't this great what we did? When in fact, there are many more steps to go, isn't there? And that this is not even really what was proposed today. This might not at all be what ends up going into reconciliation. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have to send this to the Senate, and none of us, you need a crystal ball to figure out what's going to happen over there. Let's just hope that they come up with something that's palatable for the rest of the taxpayers in this nation, and will encourage the growth. There are some very positive things about this. I'm fighting for my taxpayers in New York.
Sure.
But on the national side, we have manufacturing. We are going to be repatriating literally tens of billions of dollars, hopefully, and giving encouraging investment back in the United States.
Right.
That's going to be great for our manufacturing base. We're doubling the standard deduction. We're simplifying the rates. We're getting rid of the alternative minimum tax, which is just a terrible.
Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah.
There are some good things. We're increasing the child tax credit, which is something I fought for as a single mom. I raised my son. Ivanka Trump has been helping us and pitching this issue.
Great.
We got it from $1,000 to $1,600. We were looking at $2,000 and possibly $2,500, but we're at least got somewhere. Maybe we can get more out of the Senate. But right, we got to go to the Senate, and then it comes back again for us, and we hopefully will revisit this, because I would like us to see, I know that we're a high-tax state, but we are a donor state, and I would like to see us raise the property tax exemption, which was a win for us. When we were denied the state and local tax deduction on the salt, we actually got back the deductibility of property taxes. So to raise that limit would help a lot.
Well, and also with the higher individual deduction, a lot of people might not even be taking that deduction, because they won't be filing in the way that where you're taking a lot of the individual deductions, because the single deduction now, the standard, might be enough. Representative Tenney, we're already out of time. Thank you so much for clarifying a little bit. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here.